he is surprising everyone. There is a Bucs player who really stood out from the preseason game against the Titans. He made some splash plays, and he is making himself known. He is fighting for a roster spot, and he has a good chance with a good start to this preseason. We'll be talking about why he is a hidden gem on this Bucs roster. I'm Sebastian with Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, guys. Make sure to subscribe. We hit the 1,000 mark. Thank you, guys. We got to keep pushing. We want to make sure that everyone is aware of this channel so that we can really keep growing this community. But thank you all for who's already gotten us this far. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. We can get to 2,000. We can get to 5,000. We can keep doing this, guys. And thank you all to who's already supporting this channel. And I'm loving it. Let's keep it going. So who we're talking about today? We're talking about a certain guy, Nick Jackson. Todd Bowles had to say that undrafted rookie Nick Jackson and John Bullock had a good showing for their first NFL outings. There may be a spot for one on the active roster and one on the practice squad. So these guys are fighting to make the 53-man roster, and number 53 himself, Nick Jackson, had a pretty strong showing. Todd Bowles had to say about Nick Jackson, a football player from the time he came in here. He was somebody we wanted to see, we wanted to watch. We were paying close attention to him. He just knows how to play the game. Yes. Because we sure got, he sure got our attention once he started playing this game. The third quarter in particular was awesome because he got a sack and an interception, a pretty remarkable interception, might I add. Both picks that happened in the game were like tipped balls. The second interception that happened in the fourth quarter was there was three interceptions. The second interception that happened was a tipped ball that went like way up in the air, so there's a lot of time to catch it. But Nick Jackson's, the first interception that happened in the game, was a bit more higher difficulty. He was in the process of being blocked by an offensive lineman and was able to snag it with one hand while falling backwards right after it got deflected from a rush at the quarterback. So ball skills, we already know, is definitely there. He has his eye on the ball while, still trying to get around his block. And he's also, rushing the quarterback. He got a sack, and it wasn't just like any other sack. He had to get around a lineman to get there. So he's showing his physicality. He's showing his ball skills. He's showing that he is a versatile player. And this is something that I'm really excited about, to see linebacker depth and to see players at the linebacker position really showing off and showing that we're not like the shallowest depth at linebacker, because it's a big concern for Bucs fans that after Lavonte David retires, what's going to happen, because we don't really know what the future looks like at the linebacker area. We thought Devin White was going to be the future of this linebacker room. Didn't turn out to be the case. Props to him for helping us win a Super Bowl, but now he's trying to make a roster spot on the Raiders. And so we're still trying to find that second guy. And Sebastian Georgiev, he was playing a lot during that preseason game. He had a solid showing. He was the only starter who was on the defensive side, who was on the field. But overall, to see other players really make a name for themselves, really make some plays, some impressive plays. It wasn't just, they tipped a ball and it was incomplete, which is still a good play, but he's making the big time stats, a sack, an interception, and getting both in the same game, in the same quarter, is really exciting to see, because these guys are getting limited snaps. They're not on the field the whole game. But when they're there, they're trying to make the best of their opportunity, and Nick Jackson did a great job of doing that. And when you have those plays, when you're making those plays consecutively on consecutive drives, it's gonna create an environment from your teammates. You're like, I trust this guy to do his assignment. I trust him to do his job. He's gonna get after the rush or the passer. I don't have to worry about him. There's a lot of players who are very self-conscious when they're in a preseason game. There's probably a bit of mistrust when it's like, okay, I'm on this field with possibly some future DoorDash delivery drivers or some players who actually will make the 53-man roster, and it's hard to tell sometimes who's going to make the team. Nick Jackson is absolutely making a case for being one of those guys to make the roster. Absolutely. Greg Allman had to say 2 games left today, but in the first 14 preseason games this weekend, Bucs rookie linebacker Nick Jackson was the only NFL player to get both a sack and an interception. 28 had picks, 48 had sacks, but only Jackson had both. And this is what we mean by versatile player. He's going out there and he's making stuff happen. Like a sack is a drive killer, interception is a drive stopper. I mean, these are plays that you want to see from your guys. That they're multifaceted. It wasn't like he made the same play twice in a row or anything like that. These are 2 very different plays and very impressive plays. That's why he's standing out so much. He's also making tackles. He's reading the defense well. And, Bowles was singing his praises like he is a football player. And typically that compliment means that they have good instincts, that they understand, how the game is supposed to be played. They understand the physicality of it. And it's not just like a guy out there trying to make plays or maybe getting lucky. Typically when you get, lucky, it's like, oh, you put your arms in the air. It just happened to the ball happened to hit it. And then maybe that's like the only thing that happened. But no, a sack and an interception, just like, Greg Allman said, when you get both of them, that is actually pretty special. No one else this whole week had that. It's just Nick Jackson. And so he is making a case for being one of the guys that makes the team. It was also reported that Nick Jackson became the first Buccaneer player since 2017 to record a sack and an interception in the same preseason game. So it's been 8 years since that's last happened. I was even surprised that that it was that recent for us because that's a strong showing. You're gonna catch eyes not just from your team but across the league when you're like, oh wait, this guy made like 2 very different big defensive plays. And Nick Jackson obviously wasn't the only defensive player shining. There was 3 total interceptions by 3 different players. The last one being a pick 6, which was pretty exciting. It was in the fourth quarter. Granted, this is against the Titans. They aren't the best measuring stick. They were the worst team in the league last year. They're trying to get better, obviously. But the Bucs, this is an experienced group where they have had the same defensive scheme for a long time. Just in the 2020s, it's been very consistent. It's all been Todd Bowles' defense. And so that makes it a very comfortable system where like when guys come in, new guys like an undrafted free agent rookie like Nick Jackson, when he comes in, there's other veterans on the team that can be like, hey, this is how we play. This is what Todd means when we're doing these kind of plays, like fake blitzes, different kind of defensive packages. Because Todd is a very he's very technical in his designs, and someone would even call him an extravagant defensive coordinator or defensive mind since he's a head coach. Because exotic blitzes, like there's like guys who will be like faking going in and then pulling back, and you'll have like Vita Vea sometimes in coverage, which is so bizarre to look at. But he'll do that kind of stuff to kind of psych out offenses and be like, wait, what's going on? I thought Vita was rushing the passer. Or like, why are there like 2 corner blitzes at the same time? Or anyway, you get the idea. He's doing a lot of different things, and it doesn't always work. Infamously, a blitz in the playoffs sometimes does not pay off and could ruin the game. But Todd is not afraid to try different things, and so that gives players confidence that like, okay, this is a very confident defensive mind, and he has the confidence in me to go and make a play. He likes playmakers. He likes guys who can get the hands on the ball and just make something happen. Strip the ball from the quarterback or cause an interception. And Nick Jackson is proof that he can do both. And he was really just shining. He was getting a lot of love from his teammates, and it was really cool to see because I think that, like we've talked about, the linebacker room is something that a lot of us have a lot of questions about. I mean, Lavonte is probably in his last season this year. We all hope not, but it's looking more than likely that that's probably the case. So we want guys to be able to learn from Lavonte. Lavonte's been in that Todd Bowles defense, and so once there's that transition to who's going to be the next leader in the linebacker room, we want guys like Nick Jackson to be able to learn from him and be like, okay, I can do what he does. I mean, it's very unlikely we'll get another guy as good as Lavonte David. He's a Hall of Fame type linebacker, but at the same time, the Bucs have a good history with linebackers and just good play overall in the linebacker room. Quan Alexander comes to mind, and then obviously Derek Brooks, but that goes without saying. But that's the thing, is like carrying the legacy into this next era of Bucs defensive football, where the young Bucs need to kind of take the reins here. It's good to have guys like Nick Jackson putting up performances like this, and it'll be interesting to see if he's one of the guys who makes that 53-man roster or the practice squad. But he's making his case to make the main roster, the active roster for sure. If he keeps up doing stuff like this in weeks 2 and 3, it'll be no question he makes the team. But it's just a matter of, can he keep it up? That's going to be hard to do. I won't be expecting a sack and a pick every game, but maybe he can get another sack, or maybe he can get another interception. One of the two would be great, or maybe a multi-sack game. That'd be pretty cool. QB pressures, just make sure to be looking out for number 53 to try to make the 53-man roster. That's kind of what I'm looking for, and he was just a kind of big surprise. No one was really talking about this guy before this weekend. Now, after this weekend, he's like, okay, you're on our radar now. We'll be looking to see future performances out of you, and we'll be hoping the best from him. But the question is for you guys is, what did you think of Nick Jackson's performance? Are you skeptical, or actually do you think that this guy has what it takes? When you look back on some of the footage, do you like the fundamentals he's showing? Do you think he has good football instincts? And does he seem like a football player, as Todd Bowles was emphasizing, that they were excited to just watch him play? Just your overall thoughts on, leaning towards skeptical, like, is this more of a fluke, or are you leaning towards, no, this guy, he seems like he has the intangibles. He seems like he's the real deal. I typically, when you have a pick and a sack, that's actually a really good sign. Like we've talked about, the only guy this weekend to have done that, it typically means something. That when you have a special performance, it's probably by a special player or a player who can play in this league. So that's what I see, and I think a lot of other people are making sure, and then they'll be looking at him next week. Both the Steelers and the Bucs will be paying attention to, like, okay, what is he going to do this time around? And that'll be really exciting to watch. But yeah, keep your eye out for Nick Jackson. That is a name to keep in your brain. But yeah, let me down below. Subscribe. Make sure to subscribe. We are continuing on this train, full steam ahead. Thank you guys for everyone who's always watching and enjoying this content. I love doing this, and I want to keep doing this. The season is just basically here, because preseason, there's a lot to talk about, a lot of guys. And I love doing this. So make sure to keep watching and stay tuned. Thanks, guys.